Hi, this is Jordan Fisher of Good Bones Properties, and today I'm sitting here with Eric Maurer of Chicago Title, and we're going to talk about title insurance. So let's talk about the fun world of title insurance.
Let's do that.
So what is title insurance, and why do people need it?
Title insurance is a little bit different than casualty insurance, what you're used to with homeowners or health insurance. What we do in title insurance, and I work for Chicago Title, is we're looking back in history to look at a piece of property to see who has owned the property in the past and what types of obligations have been recorded against the property. It's basically we're looking in the past, where usual insurance, what people are most used to are for future events. We're looking at events that occurred in the past and seeing how they affect a particular piece of property.
So let's say I'm buying a house, right? And I know I'm supposed to get title insurance, right? And title insurance, you said, is looking back to see what's happened with the house, right? Who's owned it before, in terms of title, what's been happening with the house. So what? Why do I need that for me going forward? What's the most important?
Well, the insurance part is to make sure, if you're handing somebody $500,000, you want some assurances that that person actually owns the property, for one, and that they have the right to transfer what we call free, clear, and marketable title, meaning no obligations, no liens. It's going to be handed off to you cleanly, and nobody else has an interest or ownership in the property when they do so.
So just because I have the money and I want to buy the property doesn't mean here's my money, now it's mine, right?
Well, that's
this
interesting.
Is what we're saying here.
Right. That's the interesting thing about title insurance. It's not mandatory. So if you walk in and you have a bag full of cash to buy a property, no one's going to require you to hold title insurance. Personally and professionally, I wouldn't recommend doing that, just for the fact that somebody could come knocking at your door 5 years down the road and say, here's a piece of paper that says I own this house, could you please leave now? Now, if that were the case, and you did not have title insurance, it'd be up to you to defend that claim against the property. Now, if you have a policy of title insurance, the first thing you would do is call the title insurance company and tell them what's going on and file a claim. The title insurance company would then act as your representative, and they would defend that claim legally for you.
So when I buy title insurance, I'm getting insurance, right? When I get title insurance, I'm getting insurance that when I buy the house, it's actually mine. So in case anyone makes a claim against it, the property is mine legally, right? Forget about the money and everything else. Legally recorded, it's my property, first and foremost.
Well, and if something came up where it wasn't the case, and there was a person who actually came to your door and they actually owned the property, old Uncle Fred came up and for some chain of events that he actually legally owned the property, you having a policy of title insurance, well, you may have to leave the property, but you'd be compensated by the title company, and that's the insurance aspect of it.
Gotcha, okay. And who typically pays for title insurance?
Title insurance, well, let me clarify, there are two, a typical transaction with a loan, there are two types of title insurance policies. One we call the lender's policy, which is purchased by the buyer of the property on behalf of the lender. And if you had a loan with a given bank, they would require that title insurance. And essentially it guarantees that their loan is guaranteed in what we call first position, or they're ahead of anybody else who has an interest in the property. Second type of policy is called an owner's policy. That is typically paid for by the seller and is given to the buyer as a guarantee of sorts that, yes, you're paying X amount of dollars for the property, I'm guaranteeing that no one's going to come later and claim an interest in the property. If they do, this title insurance policy from Chicago Title is going to protect you.
Gotcha.
As an owner.
Okay. So I just figure that into my closing costs when I'm buying a property, but know at least the seller is going to cover at least my title insurance.
Correct.
Okay.
And your buyer's policy or your lender's policy for the buyer is given at a reduced rate when it's issued concurrently with the same owner's policy.
Okay.
So we're typically talking on the typical transaction, the buyer's title insurance cost is somewhere between $500 and $900.
Okay, good. So what we're saying is you really need title insurance. If you don't, when you're going to spend all this money, your home being the biggest, right, usually most important purchase in someone's life, you want to be insured that when you purchase it, it really is yours and you're protected, right? So
yes.
Title insurance seems like a small fee to make sure that is safe.
It's a small price to pay, and it's a one-time fee as well.
Okay.
where you don't pay an annual premium as you would with different types of insurance. Title insurance is paid at one time, and this is good for as long as you own your property, or if you transfer the property to a family member or hand it down, it's also in place too, so it's transferable within a family. So title insurance is sort of the gift that keeps on giving.
And I guess I'm probably somewhere close to saying almost or more than 99% of real estate transactions, residential real estate transactions, have title insurance.
I've never seen a transaction that's been done without title insurance, and even between family members, if a property is going to be sold, there's title insurance involved, because you never know what's popped up, who has the lien, what has happened with the property to cloud the title, as we say in business.
Great. Okay. Well, thanks, Eric, for sharing some insight on title insurance and why you need it. So hopefully everyone will understand why it's so important part of the transaction.
You're welcome, Jordan. My pleasure.
Sure.